So Becca Costello from NET wants to know, how were these companies able to get testing supplies, and not just testing supplies, but also the machine, the PCR machine that does this testing, the polymerase chain reaction machine that runs these labs. How do these folks get it? And I don't know, Josh, do you want to answer that? Dave, who would be the best person to talk about the relationships that you all have? You kind of referenced them in your opening remarks here about having these relationships to be able to get this, but who'd like to tackle that question?
I'll jump in and then I'll hand off to a couple of the folks. So what made this organization unique is that it's really a consortium of several companies. And so one of the partners in this consortium is a company called Co-Diagnostics. They've been around for 7 years. They're a public company, and they've done long-term assessments and testing around infectious disease in third world countries. So it was an interesting, really is one of the things that kind of helped spawn the idea. They were shipping these tests that have been FDA approved all over the world to really all over the globe, Western Europe, Africa, South America, Asia, and we weren't using them in our own backyard. So when we reached out to them, they then began making connections and introductions. Then we also had some of the other people in the consortium who had relationships into inventory in China. So really the short version is the network of the CEOs involved in this association. You've got, Qualtrics, who has a relationship directly to one of our providers in Germany. You have Domo, who has relationships with providers in China. So we're leveraging those broad relationships in order to circumvent traditional purchasing, the typical logistics process. So we're going to direct. Josh, share some of what you just were able to do for PPE.
Yeah, so again, I think Dave set it up at the very beginning as well. But this is when the president said it's every state for themselves. We all looked around and said, okay, well, what are we going to do? And thankfully, we'd established a relationship with our governor and just started. Everyone kind of came together and just helped as much as we possibly could. But one of the things that I noticed also is PPE, just getting masks and equipment and I was on the board of a company that had a Chinese factory. And so we called them and ended up bringing in 8 million different pieces of PPE for the state of Utah. Utah paid for it, but we facilitated it all and actually, got it delivered, which was in this day and age a monumental task. So yeah, it's just really been about the partnership, and we're seeing it already. We'll see it, I'm sure, with Nebraska and the people that, are just helping to spread the word to go to testnebraska.com and get these assessments done. Because, if you can get 100,000 people in that first day, that's a pretty big dent in the overall population of Nebraska and really gives you a good idea of where people are at.